In today's video, I'm going to talk about how to build this landing page that you're seeing here. This landing page came out with a dashboard I published a couple weeks ago, and I got a number of questions on how to set it up, so I'm really excited to show you that because it's actually pretty simple. Overall, I think landing pages are really great for dashboards with a broad audience or dashboards that are in an easily discoverable place, just to help make sure that your users always know how to navigate it and what's available to them. The way this landing page is set up is we have 3 tiles here. These 3 tiles correspond to the pages that you could find in the workbook. And then when you hover over each of the tiles, you can find out more information about what specifically is included in each of those views. Before I get too in the weeds of the process, I just want to show you a little bit about how it is set up. Before I talk about that, though, I did also want to mention that there are a number of ways that you could achieve this. One that came to mind as well when I was looking to build this was the standard sheet swapping method, where you use a filter to collapse an entire container. That would work here as well. The reason that I went with this method versus that method is that would require me to make twice the amount of sheets, and I wanted to try and contain both the title and the description in one sheet. So that is what I ended up doing. The title, which is what we're seeing now, just the title of that page that that title navigates to, is a Gantt chart, and actually what you're seeing in that description is it's a bar chart. And the way that this is set up is I have a parameter, which is what we're seeing on the right hand side. The one for this is titled Expand Description Overview, and it has 2 values in it, 1 and 2. And these are basically toggling which way we're seeing it. So when it's closed, we're just seeing the title. When it's open or on 1, we're seeing the title and the description. So it's just moving back and forth between these. The way this is actually working on the back end is we have a dual axis chart, again, with the Gantt for the title and the bar chart for the description. And what is happening is, depending on if the parameter is on one value or the other, the height of each of those are changing. So just wanted to explain that before I jumped into it, and we can build one together. So this is going to take 1 parameter, 3 calculations, and 1 action to set up. We're going to start with building the parameter. I'm just going to call it landing page demo. You can honestly choose a number of things. I'm just going with 1 and 2, but you can choose on, off, open, close, really doesn't matter. And we are off. The next thing I'm going to do is create the calculations. So I'm going to create the first calculation, which is going to be for the title. So I'm just going to put landing page demo title. Both of these calculations, though, that we're about to build next are set up very similarly. So we're just going to write if landing page, so that parameter that we just made, equals 2, then 1.0, else 1.7. So as I said when I was sort of giving the quicker demo a second ago, the way this works is we're changing the height depending on the value in that parameter. The numbers that I'm using here, this 1.0 and 1.7, and the numbers that you'll see in the second calculation can be changed. So if you want sort of the spacing to be different, or you need more room or less room depending on your titles and descriptions, you can play around with those to figure out what works for you. And this is just what I found worked for the contents of my dashboard. We're just going to go ahead and duplicate that because this next calculation is set up the exact same way, but we're just going to call it landing page demo description, and that's because this is for the bar chart piece, so where we're putting the description of what the view holds. And again, same setup, we're just going to change the numbers to 0.3 and 1.6. And again, if you're like, why are these numbers? I just played around until I found a spacing that seemed good to me. So we're going to put these on our sheet. Just want to change them both to attribute. They don't need to be summed here. And then we're going to want a dual axis chart. So I'm just going to right click on the second measure, click dual axis. While I'm here, I'm going to synchronize that as well. So as we can see, we already have that those two little heights going on. We just need to do some formatting things here. Just going to hide this, and I actually am going to show my parameter because we're going to want this so we can see that it works momentarily. Going to change the fit to entire view, and then now we're going to actually first let's change the mark types. Sorry, I'm deciding how I want to do this as I go. So like I said, the landing page title piece is a Gantt chart, and the description piece is a bar chart. So we can already see it sort of coming together. You can play around with the sizing. So I believe I had this just a little bit smaller. I definitely had this taking up basically the entire space. I like to, here we're going to put landing page. This is whatever your title is going to be. And just add that as a label. And then you could format sort of however you see fit. I did not change the type at all. Okay. Same thing with the colors. We're actually just going to pull the color off for right now, and I can show you how to add that back in later. We're just going to make them both purple. So we're actually almost here. Additionally, I'm going to add the description. The way that I like to do this is to just put a placeholder text unlabeled, basically, so I can open this up. If you do not have anything on label, you cannot get to this. So rather than type the entire description in an ad hoc calc, I'd rather just type the description on the label, but I need something on the label to open this up, and then you can take it out. And then I'm just going to put placeholder text. For description, you can add in here whatever makes sense for you and for that view, but I'm just going to put that here, and then I believe the center is where I had it, but we will find out for sure once we test this out. Going to do also some formatting things, taking off some of these lines. Definitely don't need the zero lines, but I don't think you're going to actually see them with the way it's set up. And as you can see, we're getting pretty darn close. But this is static, right? This would be if you just wanted to have the title and the description, which honestly I think is fine by itself. I just wanted it to be a little bit more interactive, and then also if you do have more tiles than I had, I only had 3, but let's say you have 5 or even 10, that might be a lot of text to have on the screen at once. So that's another reason why I think this method is a good one. But this is what the ending view is, and now we're going to add in the component that's going to change it. So that's where our third calculation comes in. We're just going to call it landing page demo again, and then we're just going to call this one toggle. And for this, it's super simple. We're just going to say if the parameter that we made is on 2, then 1, end. And we're going to take this and put it on detail here. And we only have, I think, 2 more steps to set this up. Uh, the first is we're going to add an action, and this is what's actually going to make it happen, is this hover action here. Just going to get rid of these. So we're going to have a parameter action for this sheet. It's going to run on hover, so that's how we're going to have it, where when you hover over it, you can see the description or not. The parameter won't change, that landing page demo one we created earlier. The field is the toggle. We don't want it to be aggregated. And then what one thing we're going to edit here is the clearing the selection will. We want to set the value to 2 when the selection is cleared. Okay, so we're sort of seeing that happen now, where basically what you're seeing right now is the description is moving up and down. It might not seem that fantastic. You're like, Autumn, is this broken? It is not, but there was one thing that I wanted to wait to do until the end, just so we could sort of see it work, and that is the axis. So this is where the, for lack of a better word, the magic happens, which is fixing the axis so that the description is not visible unless we are in that position where everything is sort of moved up. So to make this a little bit clearer, so I fixed it to 0.4 and 2.2. Like I said, this was just a lot of me playing around figuring out what numbers are going to work. The reason that this works though is you can see our axis starts at 0.4, and in our landing page description calculation, we're saying if the parameter is on 2, then we want the height of that bar to be 0.3, which means it's still there technically, but it's outside what the axis is allowing us to see. But when we are on 2, when we are on 1, then it will move the height of that bar to 1.6, which is inside the view. So I'm going to take off the header, and then, ta-da! One other thing I added, which I won't show here, but you can add, is I have the color of the Gantt part changing depending on where we are in this parameter, so 1 versus 2. And I'll just go back and show you. It's this muted light purple when you're not hovering. It's this vibrant purple when you are. I just thought that was a nice little touch to add as well to help better see that this is, I guess, sort of active. So, and that's it. That's all it took. I hope that this was helpful. If you guys have any additional questions about this or anything else in this dashboard, I would be more than happy to make another video or answer that for you, and can't wait to see what you guys make.